All right. And we are live. I have a light that I have to fix. So why don't you say hello to everybody for a second?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Another edition late night green interview time. Good summer night. I'm gonna have a good guest for you this evening. Somebody with some very interesting background, and we'll talk about things that are really relevant, things that are going on, and enlighten us of how they're doing things. Yeah, so we're sitting here enjoying the summer. Hope everybody having a good time down at the shore, running around, walking the animals.
I was looking at the monitor. I'm going, man, that's dark. Why is it so damn dark in here?
Yeah, man.
We forgot to turn one of the big ass lights on.
Man,
it was so warm in here. We forgot to turn more heat on.
Yeah, man, we need no more sun.
I know. Well, I just turned the sun on. Welcome back, guys. Late Night Green Interview Edition. It's been a minute since we've been here. We're going to be doing a late night show tonight. Steve from the news will be here. We're going to be playing the Jeffrey Epstein game. We've got stories about Texas and Germany, and we got fireworks updates. We got all kinds of stuff. We got lots of stuff to get to. But that's not why we're here for this interview edition. We are here because we're going to learn something. We're going to learn a lot of stuff tonight, and we're going to open the world of cannabis research up to our audience. What do you think about that?
Man, I love it. Professionals talking about, giving us the real rundown.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, yeah, we're just having a few technical things here tonight. But anyway, so without further ado, let me introduce our guest of honor for this evening. We've got Raymond Palidora. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
All right. And he's a cannabis researcher at Thomas Jefferson University right here under our roof in Philadelphia. Welcome to the show, Raymond.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. In the house. And so we are going to learn. We don't know a lot about this. I'm not going to lie. You do, we don't. So hopefully we can guide just enough right questions so we can all learn something tonight.
Please.
So before we get started on the world of cannabis research, why don't we learn something more about you?
Sure.
And why don't you give us a little bit of your history, where are you from? Are you a Philly transplant, or give us the rundown here?
Sure. Yeah, I'm South Philly, born and raised.
All right.
That's not a transplant.
No, not at all. Far from it.
Please, for God, tell me you're not a Cowboys fan.
No.
All right.
No. Why would you even ask that?
The reason I would ask that, I'm not.
Isn't it too early to start this?
Oh, is it? Oh.
Here we go. Yeah. You know who that is?
Let's keep the focus on Raymond.
Okay. All right. Listen, I can't.
It's not even preseason yet.
I can't let you get away with none of this. Anyway.
Now I have regrets coming over here.
So you're born and raised Philadelphia?
Philadelphia.
And where did you go to college?
So I started at Community College of Philly a long time ago and got my associates, and then went to Temple University. And didn't finish there, kind of wanted to figure out what I wanted to do, and started in medical oncology research, kind of at the base level of things. It was about 10 years ago. And fell in love with research and clinical research and just understanding different things, especially in the oncology world. And eventually decided to go back to school, transfer my credits. I got my bachelor's degree at Jefferson. And then out of my own personal kind of interest and everything, but getting into that world, being interested in cannabis, seeing patients interested in it, wanting to know more. And Jefferson had opened up this degree program. They had graduate certificates to start, but then they opened up a master's degree level in medical cannabis science and business. So I did that program. I graduated this past December. So I have my master's degree in medical cannabis science and business.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
With that,
Thank you.
Big accomplishment.
Yeah. So then
did you get an ounce of weed to graduate?
Yeah, classified information.
Well, he's waiting for you to still fucking give it to him.
That's my parting gift. Yeah.
I know. You better get that shit ready, bro.
But so then I moved over to work in medical cannabis research in the medical oncology department at Jefferson. And my team and everybody we work with, we do a lot of medical oncology, cannabis-related research, but there's a lot of non-oncology research that we do as well.
Okay. And maybe back up a second and tell us, like, how did this become something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, privately, I've always kind of been interested in cannabis and everything, but I think, to me, just generally being interested in science, the unknowns were always the most kind of catching thing to me. And in the medical world, there's a lot of people who use cannabis, even if it was recreationally, for medical purposes. So it helps me sleep, it helps me relax, it helps me with joint pain, whatever it is. And with PA opening up its medical world, but then Jersey opening up its recreational world, it was just something that interested me. And when you go to look in the science, there's a lot of we think there's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of kind of lead to, but there's a lot of research to be done. So I wanted to jump in and see if we can answer some questions.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So just so everybody knows how I became aware of Ray is that he reached out to me. Was it on X?
It was on Instagram.
It's on Instagram. He reached out to me and said, hey, I'm not sure if you guys are interested, but I'm a researcher right here in the Philadelphia area in cannabis. And so we set up a call, and, we had a nice call. And I said, this is definitely, I didn't know a lot about this. The world of research, from what we've been told, has been limited, and limited because of its federal classification, blah, blah, blah. We know all the reasons. But I did know, based on our relationship with John, from High Roller and Agrikine, that Agrikine was and still is, if I'm not mistaken, one of the providers to the Pennsylvania universities for the cannabis studying, for the research.
So there's each state kind of has its own limitations and restrictions. That is one of them, and there's still a lot of restrictions on specific type of research you can do. So there's a lot of research that kind of totes line of trying to do clinical trials, which are not really kind of do with that Schedule 1. So there's a lot of like observational studies. There's a lot of studies that get like survey information, like patient-reported information about cannabis, but it's still very hard to get funding and kind of get very like, oh, we tried patients who tried this for this long. This is what works. This is a placebo versus this. Those types of studies. So it's difficult to still do it.
And so how long have you been doing this?
So I've been in the medical cannabis world doing the research for about 2 years now. I've been in the clinical research world for about 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to use a little strategy.
Yeah.
Yes, right, using different companies based on the laws and everything there.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there is NIH-funded studies. That's one of the studies that I do it's federally funded. But then different dispensaries might fund their own kind of private research and everything too, but it's still, again, there's a lot of limitations, a lot of kind of wiggle room you have to do, and small scale studies. If you read any published studies, a lot of it in the conclusions or at the end will say further study needs to be happen, or a larger scale study needs to happen. It's always in there because we need more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Maybe you guys can use me in your smoke study.
Yeah. I mean, I can go over some studies we have open.
You need a fucking sleep study is what you need, brother. So when you said you're attracted to the science, are you attracted to the science of in general or to the science of cannabis in particular?
Both.
When you were kind of like figuring your way.
Yeah, I think both. I think just in general, science is something I've always moved towards, or no, I wanted to be in it, and being in that cancer research world to start off with, I'm like, I kind of like this. I like this clinical study, getting into it. But then seeing different levels of like the cannabis kind of black holes of knowing things, I was like, well, this is something like, let's answer these questions. Let's why don't we have this information? Let's do some more studies. And the unknowns of science is kind of what always driven me. And there's a lot with cannabis.
So are there studies driven by internally yourself, or, hey, just some of the things are out there that people that are unknown? You might take a topic and say, hey, for instance, like, hey, driving under influence.
Mm-hmm.
How do you detect that? How do you monitor that? So do you get outside forces, or people come to you and say, hey, we need this research done on this topic?
So it's a little bit of both. There are questions that us as researchers or some of the PhDs or doctors I work with want to answer. And then sometimes there's an outside entity saying, hey, like we have this product or this question we want to answer. Can you guys do that for us? So there's a little bit of both. There's always, and once you answer one question, that always opens 5 more questions. Like, okay, well, we know this now. Well, what about with this population? What about with this product? What, we tested it on this, but what about if we did 10 milligrams? And, so you do one, and there's always 5 more doors it opens.
That's super interesting. So, what made, I guess, how did you end up at Jefferson in particular?
So if you're in Philly, you're Jefferson's everywhere, but
that's the place. If you need to go to the hospital, go to Jefferson.
True, but exactly. I'm assuming that when you're trying to make a decision on how you want to handle, your cannabis research career, it's not the only place, right?
No, for sure. I mean, Penn they do a lot of research, and just in the area, there's you name it. Any university is going to have some sort of cannabis science program of some sort. But when I started about 10 years ago, between some family and friends who either worked or were currently working at Jefferson, like, oh, you should come. Like, this department has openings. So I kind of looked and applied, and I want to get into science somewhere. So you get in the entry level and kind of just figure it out from there.
Okay. Bro, you should have been a researcher. Did something with your life.
Hey, man, listen, it's not too late.
Just keep asking questions. Keep asking questions.
That's right. That's researching, asking questions.
Another career.
And not being satisfied with the answers, right?
Exactly. Yep.
All right, well, let's dive into some of the stuff that you're working on.
Sure.
Because I know obviously you talked about oncology. There's questions that we have, but I guess give us an overall beyond oncology, the things that you may be involved in, and then we'll kind of dig around.
Yeah, I can talk about the one study that I'm running, and then kind of a broader what I'm interested in, and then a broader of like what the community is kind of interested in, if that works.
Let's do that.
So the main study that I'm working on, it's an NIH-funded study. It's with Jefferson, UPenn, and the University of Buffalo. So it's a federally funded study, and what we're looking at is cancer patients dealing with pain or in pain management, different levels of pain, usually cancer-related or treatment-related. And we're looking to compare cannabis users versus non-cannabis users, and also compare white versus black patients, and basically their access to cannabis and access to pain medications and that kind of thing too. So really we're looking to see what the difference is in those two groups. Does cannabis maybe help or affect different levels of pain, maybe help you take less pain medications? And I mean, it's a survey-based study. We're not giving or dispensing cannabis to anybody. We're just kind of asking them the questions throughout the study. But it's an open enrollment study, so it is currently enrolling and opening. So yeah, that's the kind of the main thing that we're going to be looking at is cannabis in these two groups and seeing what data we get out of it, essentially.
Now, when you do this, are you just focused on the pain management side, or are we looking at all on how THC interacts with literally killing cancer cells?
So this study is more or less on the pain side. We ask a lot of different questions on, where they're getting their cannabis, like the patient knowledge of cannabis that they're using, and what they're using it for. So sometimes they might be using it for sleep or pain, or hey, I'm using it for my cancer symptoms. This isn't a larger scale to see the effectiveness of cannabis with cancer. It's more for the pain management side of it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So this study is about that. Tell me about the ones that are like.
So then the larger scale stuff, again, because of the Schedule 1 nature, there's a lot of figuring out of how to get to looking at cannabis effectiveness and CBD or THC or CBN and those kind of things. So the types of studies that can be kind of structured is usually with dispensaries, where they're the ones dispensing the cannabis to the patient, to the participant on the study, and then we kind of observe that. So we're not the ones as the pharmacy, so to speak. We're dispensing or administering cannabis to the patient. So we're just like, oh, we know that these patients are using this product, and then of that group, we can kind of get information. So it's different levels to it. I know in Europe they're working on like actual clinical studies, so there'll be more. Hey, does CBD work with epilepsy? Does THC work with PTSD? So
Gotcha.
there will be more information. Those are current
I
things.
mean, we're
going
in
on
the
there.
early stages
Very,
of all of this, right?
Yeah, we're in the prehistoric
stages.
Yeah, like
So the advancements are yet to come, and what
sure.
we know about this, really know about this, is yet to come as well.
for sure. I mean, there's the whole cannabinoid family, and then now there's studies looking at the terpene levels and the terpene breakdowns of things. So there's going to be, the minute we find more things, then it's going to be like, well, what's the best mix for this? And then another study, and then it just it hopefully keeps growing.
Listen, our body has receptors for a reason.
That's true.
And we need to know exactly why this plant was put on this green earth, and we know why, but we want to know all the things. Let me talk about. Did you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to ask about, as far as the study. How do you get your patients?
Oh, sure.
Good question.
So I have, and I will share with you guys the main recruitment flyer for the study, and between doctors referring patients, or we come across patients in our recruitment lists or in the clinic or in the fusion center. If the different doctors or nurses are aware that the study's open, and they'll say, hey, I think John Smith is good, and they'll send me the information, and I call them, and because it's observational based, there's no usually procedures or scans, or we don't change medications. It's just monthly calls and text message, like surveys. So it's pretty low bar for the patient to do, because most of the other cancer studies that they're used to are like poking and prodding them a lot.
Right.
So these are kind of just like, hey, every month I'm going to check in. You're going to tell me what's going on. I'll ask you some surveys.
You know why he asked you that question?
Why is that?
Because he wanted free weed.
You knew where I was going with that.
Yeah, and he figures, shit, Jefferson's close enough. I get some free weed out of this deal.
Shit, I walk over there at lunch.
Snap.
Yeah, it's the first thing people are like, oh, cancer research. Can I be on your study? What are you giving out? Is there free samples? Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Doesn't work. Doesn't quite work like that. Here's something. I mean, listen. One of the things that I learned a few years back before the whole hemp revolution was I heard people talking about THCA,
Right.
and what they were using it for. And from what I knew about it, they were using it for cancer patients, where they wanted to give them high doses and high levels of THC without any of the intoxicating and euphoric effects that may come with regular THC. Am I on at all?
So there are people have looked at that. It's the same thing with CBD and CBN and some of the other cannabinoids. So the A in that THCA is acid. So it's a tetrahydrocannabinol acid.
Gotcha.
So you'll see that. I think some CBD shops probably, like, to get around cannabis laws, will sell THCA products sometimes.
Yes.
And then when you combust that breaks down into THC. So the studies that were looking into the cancer with THCA, those I don't know about the results of how that worked out.
Okay.
Or maybe they're ongoing, so they might have like preliminary data. There's a lot of and because a lot of the cannabinoids work in tandem with each other. So I think it's going to be found that even if that was kind of affected, they would have to go back and see how that works with CBD and CBN and CBG mixed with it and everything.
Gotcha.
Because there's that effect.
The combination effect.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and another thing I've always heard is that CBD is most effective when there's a little bit of THC present.
Exactly. So there's a lot of, if someone were to do a study looking at insomnia or sleep or something like that, or anxiety or I don't know, different things, that I think that if they wanted to really look at CBD as the effect, there would still be a mix of 2 milligrams of THC in that mixture.
Gotcha.
And a lot of the CBD based sleep products that you can get even at like a New Jersey recreational dispensary normally has some low level THC because of that.
Okay. So let's take it a step further.
Sure.
Since then, since hemp products have been out,
Yep.
I see THCA all the time in relation to hemp.
Right.
What's the difference here? And, hey, by the way, these guys who've left comments, and we were talking about different things about THC, and they tried to roast us on the comments, like, we're in the industry, we ought to know what the fuck we're talking about. This shit's confusing. I think a lot of people, if we who are around this all the time find some of this confusing, I'm not sure why it would be such a stretch for us to
I go by the general rule. Anybody who says they definitively know any of that stuff, be suspicious of them, because the thing is that the jury's out on a lot of the stuff. So anybody goes, I think they should be saying, I think it should be this. This is what it seems. This is the information we have. And they're like, no, it's definitely THC. But like, they don't know what they're talking about.
Behind.
Yeah,
I think what we're going to do, if we have time on the late night show, you're staying.
Yeah, I'll be here.
So if we have time on the late night show, I'll pull some of those comments, and then we'll see what Ray thinks.
Yeah, pull them up. Let's go through them.
Yeah, we'll pull them up.
You know what? Those guys leaving those comments, they need to come out here and have a smoke down with us and see who fall first. Shit, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, these guys. I'll invite any of these guys on. Come on.
Let's see what you got.
If you got so much and you know so much, come on. That's what I'm saying.
I'll be here for
bring them lungs, pump them up.
So the THCA that we see nowadays is not exactly what we were talking about a couple minutes ago.
It is and it isn't. It's the same thing with the THC Delta 8, Delta 9 product stuff. So it's usually a way for shops to try and get around THC laws or recreational laws or whatever. That's normally why they're selling it. Problem is, one, it's not going to be regulated or tested that effectively. So there's not going to be the regulation of medical or recreational where you know on the label what it's from. Like, who knows where this comes from?
There's like zero testing.
Yeah,
right?
you can there's like corner stores that have like CBD stuff on the counter. Like, I don't know,
right?
At least if you go to a recreational shop, they'll have like the farm, the lab testing.
And I get it, man. If you come from a place like Texas or a place that doesn't have anything,
sure,
something's better than nothing.
Sure,
right?
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. And that's.
But if you have a choice,
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I get it. A lot of the stuff at the recreational dispensary is going to probably be a lot more expensive, also. So there's that.
But those people paid a fuckload of money to go through the regulations and the
got
application,
bricks and mortar and all. Yeah, $1 million they had to invest.
Yeah,
these companies are out so much money before they even day one.
Exactly, and somebody not that long ago gave me, it was a pre-roll of something and was asking me about it or whatever, and on it really didn't have that much of a label or information, and it had like CBD in quotes. It was like CBD rolled something or whatever. I'm like, I would not. Yeah. I mean, not to say it was fake, but I'm like, there's no
right.
Who wrote that? Why bother? Like, if you can just
it's like bother? If you're like there, it's accessible enough in this area.
But a lot of times, who's buying it is people who don't have access,
and general knowledge is.
It's a little cheaper, right? So it's a little cheaper than those other products.
Yeah. Absolutely, and if you've like, oh, I've heard about CBD, I saw it in the shop, I wanted to try it. It's
right there for you.
It's right there for you, and it's like, oh, I heard it's legal. Why wouldn't the shop sell it?
And that's the problem. Like, I talk to people, and they don't know the difference, and so they think what they're getting. They don't know what they're getting necessarily.
No, exactly.
And so, what if it doesn't work, or what if it's not good quality? They may be turned off to the entire process moving forward because.
Or the opposite. If they get something that's crazy strong, and if it was labeled 10 milligrams and it wasn't, it was a lot higher, they're going to be like, oh my God, I can't do.
I never get none of that shit.
No, me neither. But
yeah.
But
I never get that.
Yeah.
I would like that'd be pleasantly surprised, but
hey, listen, if it's a drought or something, there's no more droughts. Remember the droughts in the 80s and the 90s? That's obsolete now. So
that's everywhere.
There's no need to run to the local shop and get some CBD, THCA, hemp.
Yeah, we have choices now, right? We have choices. We have places to go, and then in certain states, you've got more choice than others.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the hemp products usually will also tell you that like very low percentage of THC that's in it and that kind of thing too. So it's read your labels, get it from a reliable source, go to an actual dispensary.
Right,
you'll probably be okay.
Yeah,
and it's and usually most dispensaries now educate their staff decently well enough to like be able to guide you a little bit.
I found that the local dispensaries do a pretty good job. The bud tenders are very well informed. They're taught well. I think they're very informative.
Why is the weed not better?
Where at the?
It's because your tolerance is high.
I mean, like when you go, you might go to a state like Maine, the quality of the weed is the quality of the flower is much higher.
Well, you know what? I think that comes down to the individual distributors, right? And then you're going to have so you're going to have, let's say you got flower, so you have 30 flavors, right? You might have 10 of them that are really good, and the rest are just average. So like, everyone has their own preference. Like when they're looking for
There's
something.
a lot of average weed in the dispensaries.
It's
Yeah,
true.
there is a lot of average weed.
Average weed for high prices. A lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah, that's true.
really,
But you know what I
honestly,
like?
yeah.
But the good part is you can read and get the information. Hey, you get the percentages, you get the euphoric effect, so you go narrow it down. And after a while, you get some trial and error. But once you learn a little bit, you can you get a higher success rate of getting something that you'll be satisfied with.
It's true, and then that's going to roll into the one of the other things that just for research wise that I'm kind of interested in looking into that's not direct like cannabis effect is basically the access of medical versus recreational. When states go recreational after having been medical, there's usually not kind of standards in how to keep the medical kind of realm
medical
intact.
gets lost.
It gets lost. There's usually less people. People just go and try it for
I
themselves.
thought Colorado did a good job with it.
Yeah, Colorado did a pretty good
Because
job. Massachusetts.
They made quality distinctions between recreational, so there was a clear distinction between the quality of the product.
Yeah, and there's a distinction like in the shop. Like what happens is
like
if,
areas you can't even go to.
yeah, exactly. Like this is the medical side or
Exactly.
the medical counter. What happens sometimes is if a dispensary just has so many of some sort of edible that they're selling both recreational and medical, and they have whatever it is, and if you're a medical patient and you finally find like, oh, this brand at this mix, finally this is the thing that helps me get to sleep, and then they sell out of it, they might not save for the medical patients. So you go show up and it's like, oh, we're sold out. It's like, oh, we don't have any for the medical side. So there's not a lot of standardization.
Yeah, well, there's one particular company in New Jersey. I know someone that uses recreation out there. And they were medical, right? And then and recreational became legal. So it's both. So I said, what do they use to distinguish between the two? You're paying a fee for the medical. So what they have is they have hours that are specific just for the medical people.
Okay.
They might be able to come to the store an hour or two earlier,
Right.
and get their product
Like first hand, first come.
So there are some advantages to that. So hey, maybe that New Jersey or that particular company has made that distinction.
But that's the kind of
made it important to because it's, you got your base customers that with you from the beginning.
Exactly.
You have to take care of them. Yeah.
But that's like honestly, that's the kind of stuff that if you're not doing quality product distinctions, and then you open up your shop a couple hours early to do that. But I think it should be more than just opening up the shop, like what Ray said. I think there should be far more in terms of product quality, strength, selection for the medical patient.
Yeah, just more standardization, and it's something. And again, because the federal government doesn't really want their hand involved, it's really going to be up to each state, and every state's going to do it their own way. So there's no even baseline kind of standardization from there's no federal guidelines saying, hey, like do it this way, and then you can kind of like per county kind of tweak it as you need it. So every it's
all
hard.
the same, right?
It's so different.
And if you look at
are we nitpicking? Hey, before there was no medical, no recreational. Now we're nitpicking. Is this what it's come down to?
Nah, we're not nitpicking, man. I think we have a right to say what it is, and Ray's 100% right. The more recreation you'll see, the more medical program gets lost. You see that all the time.
Now let's say take a recreational user. He wants quality product as well.
He'll get it.
He wants something that's going to be potent, just as strong. Hey, don't hold me down, right? So there's a balance on that. I get it though. Take care of them. Make sure you have enough product for the medical people.
Yep.
But make sure you have that available too for the recreational. I think you can work both sides, and everyone wins.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, stuff like RSO is typically reserved for patients and then the medical normally. But, I want some RSO.
Before a lot of things went legal, there's a lot of sites out there where you could buy stuff online, and a lot of them were, when they had the RSOs and those type things, they would say on there, hey, these are for particular type patients. Don't abuse it. Save this for people. So they did recognize and say, hey, of course, they like to sell it, but they're like, hey, we're out here trying to help, so don't buy this if you really don't need it. Let the cancer patients have it.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So what's I don't know. So is there anything more to talk about hemp while we're on hemp?
Anything in
Do
particular?
you guys study it all?
So not in my particular department or anything. Not to say that we won't. I think hemp to me is really interesting because it's such a versatile plant. You can do, I mean, medicinal things aside, you can do like 100 million things with hemp.
Yeah.
Clothing,
Food.
Rope.
Yeah,
rope.
like
Yeah.
there's
rope is the first thing that comes to my mind. When I say
yeah, rope, but there's hemp, hemp milk and seeds and that kind of thing too. It can be turned into food. Like there's a million things you can do with it. So it's I think
Put some hemp milk in your cereal.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you can find it at the store. But I think for medicinal purposes and those kind of things, I think there's, again, a lot remains to be seen. There still needs to be a lot of research on it. So it's hard to say that, like, no, definitely not. Or,
All right, well, put your researcher hat off to the side. You smoke pre-rolls of hemp. You smoke pre-rolls of cannabis. To me, it's not the same.
No, it's not at all.
So why is everybody fucking why are they saying it's the same? It's not the same.
Well,
I can tell the damn difference.
Because they are selling and promoting it. They
Well,
can't just say, no, this is weak. And make the sale, so they're
it's a consumer
consumer needs to be aware.
It's a capitalist thing, but
yeah. I mean, hey, listen, they have the ability to market it and sell it. They're in that lane. They're promoting it, making the money while it lasts. Yep.
All right. Well,
hey, you went to Temple, man. You should know this.
Well, you'd be surprised what I know, my friend.
Did you go to class?
Well, you'd be surprised what I know.
he was studying. He was studying.
Or don't know. We were
studying philosophy.
We were studying that Thai weed.
Yeah, we was out there on Bury Beach.
The El Chocolate. So what should we expect to see in the near future with research, and what things are you most excited about, and what's around the corner? And
I think there's a lot of stuff. I mean, in the one realm, I think there's going to be a lot more research looking into the cannabinoids and learning more about that, because you see that, again, if you look at labels, there's CBG and CBN, and there's a lot of different mixes. So I think understanding what mixes are good for what, and same thing for the terpenes. Like you'll see a big list of like limonene and all these other ones and everything.
Yeah.
But it's, again, like we understand some things, but like what mixes with certain cannabinoids and what does that mean?
Right. Other than the taste of the limonene, what effect does it have?
Right. And you'll see purported things. Oh, it helps with this. It helps with your appetite. It helps with whatever. But again, I think, if anybody is very hard on take this. This is good for this or whatever, be suspicious of.
Yeah, well, I find at the dispensary, they have a lot of literature. They have posters up on the wall, the cannabinoids, the terpenes.
Yep.
And they break them, little definitions of them, and they do tell you some of the effects of them. So,
right.
But to tell you the truth, and the more and more you're into it, with, like I said, it's all this new thing. So I'm interested in all of the cabinet. It's a learning phase to get to that.
Yeah, no.
However, when I'm going in, I'm looking for the percentages and the flavor.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all can hold the post.
Yeah, smell it and percentages of THC, and you kind of go from there. But there's going to be more information of even for recreational users, it's just going to be a better understanding of what strain or what mix is going to do what for you. And I think that's very interesting to me.
And I think you're already kind of seeing that a little bit. Even some of the newer companies are just kind of matching up the effects. They're focusing a lot less on what the strain is, what the flavoring is, and they're really saying, hey, this is what it does for you. And then they just go ahead and market that way.
Yeah, because it's a mix of, again, like understanding what is going to do what for you and those effects and everything. But when you have a lot more researchers and doctors and lab techs kind of looking into those things, they can give you those kind of information. It trickles down into the consumer world and recreational world of like, hey, no, this is going to do this for you. This
feel
is
more comfortable having that.
Because at that point, if we know what it's going to do for you and you say otherwise, then this is false advertising anyway.
Right.
Right. But it's and there's going to be more products. It's going to be just growing in both directions. That's what's interesting to me. But I think also understanding just the effects of how long will it take until cannabis is kind of destigmatized through the next generation or two. And we were talking earlier saying there's new generations growing up where cannabis is legal in America. Yeah. There's dispensaries in your neighborhood.
They don't even know about these things.
Not even close. That's 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's, that's going to be interesting to me too, just the sociological effect of what people think of cannabis through
Yeah,
generations.
it has to change, right? Because it was the boogeyman for so long, and
Still is federally.
it is.
Right.
But without that stigma, the way it was, young people can grow up and not think twice about its normalcy.
It's true, yeah, and it's not as because it's a young thing. It's a thing that young people will always do, I think, in different respects. But it's not as as edgy as it was
Taboo.
maybe the '60s or '70s or something.
And
like
as a parent, you know, the thing about it you're always scared of, you know, the law, getting in trouble.
Right.
And hey, that still happens, still going to happen, but you're a little bit more relaxed about it now because it's more commonplace. So, you know, it's a level of comfortability.
Exactly.
Because it's becoming mainstream.
I agree.
Yeah, and you know, it's no secret. Our mission is to be able to use our content and present it in a mainstream fashion because we want to break those barriers down. And you know, you saw our news earlier. If you see the news and it looks, you know, you see it on this, you know, Fox-like, CNN-like news set, and someone's talking about cannabis things, but it's not so uptight.
Right.
Now you get to start to see where that crossover really starts to happen. And when we present content, we're trying to present it in ways that's already normally digested. So if you see a game show or, you know, our version of the Home Shopping Network that's coming soon, you know, these are the things that will help break these barriers down. So, you know, we want to play a role in that.
You know, it'd be interesting. So a couple of segments ago, Phil had his mother call in. It was a very nice calling in and talking about, you can get the, you know, preface of what you called in about.
Yeah, so just to make a long story short, because people have heard this before, but I got like about a month ago, I got a text from my mom, and she sent me a picture. And if you look right behind you, there's 2 metal bowls there, and on those, and in the picture she sent me were these 2 metal bowls. These are metal bowls from my youth that she found and she took, and she goes, the caption was, "Remember these?"
She held them all that time.
She held them all this time. And I mean,
so
did you
my
think she knew I would have a show that we could unleash them on? Or
well, tell. I have a follow-up question for her. So we're talking about the change in times and how marijuana is a little bit more mainstream. So if you were a kid today, now, and your mother found your bowl, what would she do? Would she still take them? Would she be less horrified and say, "Well, it's not that bad. Let them keep them"?
They'd probably take them, but I'd probably be less horrified.
She should call the police.
Yeah. Maybe you should have gave them back to you a little sooner.
Yeah, I told her. I said, "Listen, Mom, I want these back.
Yeah, they're mine.
They're mine. Let's not forget that. And then I want to deal with this on my show because we want to deal with, you know, why would you take these in the beginning with?"
Well, that's a good question.
I thought we were going to find some old ass weed in there that we were going to smoke, but it turns out that back in the day we smoked everything we had. There's nothing left.
Well, I have one question. Did your mom smoke weed every day? She take them bowls for personal use.
Smoke weed every day.
No, my mom did not smoke weed any fucking day. She does, yeah. She don't drink, no smoke, no nothing. So yeah, I'm sure she was pretty horrified when she saw these. Why she kept
My
them?
son. Not
She
my
probably,
son.
she probably kept them because she was worried that maybe somebody else would find them or see that her son had them.
Yeah.
Or
I'm surprised she knew what it was. I'm like, oh, he's burning incense or something.
I just think it'd been funny if she got pulled over on the way over here
With the bowls.
with my
They're not mine, officers.
Yeah, yeah, right.
The Mule. Did she
Mom's
star in The Mule?
Fucking mom's in trouble, man.
You're like, I never saw them ever. I don't know what they are.
Mom's in trouble, man. I just have a couple more questions. So, who pays for this research? How's it funded?
So my main study is NIH funded, meaning it's federally funded. So there's an NIH grant involved. And then some of the other studies, most studies that we do are like either some sort of government or NIH funded grants. There are ones that
It used to be Fauci funded then, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's not. Well, I mean, clinical research world is shaken up, and I'm glad my study's continuing.
Shaken
but I
up
know,
because of him and what happened with
I mean,
COVID?
a little bit of everything.
funding.
Well, I think there's like a tip on both sides because now there's a lot of cuts to all kinds of funding, even including cancer research. So I think there's just a lot of like weird gray area with research in general, and there's just a lot of muck up in the system of like grant approvals and everything right now. So I don't know what that's going to really tell for the future, not just for cannabis. I just mean research in general.
in general.
Yeah, but I think Yeah, it's mine is NIH funded now, and no
Hopefully it'll
roadblocks
stay
or
that
anything.
way.
Yeah, exactly. But the other studies that we do are just cannabis in general. Like I said, there are privately funded studies. So sometimes a dispensary wants to know more information about a specific product or get more information about the products they are using, or they're developing something and want to test it. So sometimes they'll privately fund a small scale study on whatever.
And when they do that, do they expect the results to be what they want?
Well, I think that's why if you see
I mean,
dispensaries,
the funding on medical studies is a problem.
Oh, I mean, it's a little.
Well, yeah, it depends on what
It
what
really
the
is.
preface is.
I mean,
I would say
it's-
this companies that pay for
That's how we got
or
to this
use
mess.
universities or third party actual researchers like myself to do those kind of things should be trusted, because it's like they're not big. Oh well, a lab that we own,
Right,
we sent
right.
it to and they said it was okay. It's
Right.
like, hey, like we want to try this. Let us know. This is our hypothesis. We help them do that, and the results are the results. But on the other hand, yeah, if you have a private, it's like, no, we sent it to our lab. This is what it is.
Yeah.
It should be working. and
What's
it's-
what's that term called now the new term nowadays when people are kind of doing self, like N equals something type of you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
I do. I do know what you're talking about.
Is
There's
that applicable in this arena? It would seem to me that it could be.
It could be. I mean, there's a lot of people research things themselves a lot now, and I think
So I do mean people with their own knowledge, their own expertise.
And they're conducting researches on themselves and people around them in order to verify
buffer what they
yeah.
Okay, their own methods as far as their
It's
traditional.
called N equals something, I think, right?
Yeah. But it's same thing. Like, where that information is dispensed and to whom and the context, rather than, okay, was this peer reviewed in any regard? Was it criticized by some couple different independent third parties? Who looked at this?
Right.
And was it who ran it? Is it self-reported? That kind of thing. Is it an opinion piece, or was research involved?
Gotcha.
So if you just type anything NIH, anything you want to learn, like are apples healthy? NIH, Google it. When you see a study, when you read that, read what the hypothesis is, and then see the results and conclusion. And if it's differs in any way, then you know that they went through that process of like, hey, we thought this would happen. These are the results, and
Right.
this is what this means. And like, all right, the next try, we're going to try and hone it in, and that kind of thing.
All
So
right.
general, the social media and scientific knowledge kind of butt heads sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
So let me ask you. So Ray, let me ask you this: is there any type of study in the cannabis space that you wouldn't formally conduct at Jefferson, but you might conduct, say, on our show?
Example?
I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
I'm like, where is he going with this?
Well, I'll tell you where I'm going with it. I want to, why can't we do some experimentation on our show? That's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, we could do our own experiments, right? We call it N what?
And
You
equals-
build a
and equal-
hypothesis. You do the whole, all the steps.
I mean, we could take an episode and
Let's do it.
you got to think of something smart, bro.
Well, look,
or you maybe should talk to Ray after the show.
You just fund it, and I'll do the,
All right, we'll fund it.
I'll do the test.
I mean, listen, all we need is us, be on air, and someone's got to show up with the weed.
Well, listen, this is what I need, okay?
Yep.
I'm going to need 6 different flavors,
Only 6?
okay?
You stupid.
That's 6 different flavors, and I need every denomination, sativa, hybrid, indica. And
Just nick bags of each one.
no nick bags. I'm going to need an ounce of each. And I'm going to need one of them new gravity bongs. And
Oh, yeah.
and some papers.
Oh, speaking of that, when we on the next show, we got some video of you doing that.
Oh,
How you like that?
I was holding that shit down. Huh?
You did okay.
Come on, man.
You did okay.
You know how I do.
You did okay.
Yeah.
We can do that research only if you have to watch this past Super Bowl and watch us just like laugh and talk about the Cowboys season the whole time.
Yeah, what happens? Yeah, here's a study that we could do. What happens to a Dallas Cowboy fan when he's extremely high and he's got to rewatch the Eagles Super Bowl? That's a great fucking study.
Tears.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's no reason to rewatch that. Okay? So, who wants to watch the Eagles more than once?
Well,
But
I think Ray and I would like
I'll
to do
give
that.
you credit. I'll give you credit. Y'all the Super Bowl champs from last year. That shit over with now, though. You know what I'm saying? And now the boys is back. Okay? Now believe that.
Fuck you too.
All right. All right, Ray, listen, we're going to, just so everybody knows, guys, give us a like. And Ray, if people want to reach out and talk to you and ask you questions, what's the best way to hit you?
So there's I'll make sure to share I think I already did, but I'll make sure to share my recruitment flyer that has my contact information.
Okay.
But I guess the best one to do is my name dot last name at jefferson.edu is my direct, if you want anything about research in general, just the cannabis thing, or if you want to know about our educational programs at Jefferson, there's that master's program. We have graduate certificates in medical cannabis and cannabis science and cannabis business at Jefferson. And there's also an undergrad program for medical cannabis at Jefferson as well. I'll be teaching that class in the fall. So if you look up anything and want to know, you can contact me directly. And
Only if they're a subscriber to the show.
Well, of course, yeah. That's who we're talking to.
Yeah.
Now I have a great idea. I might take you up on that because on this show now, I could be a paid professional with my views on here. So, I'm going to take your class.
See, there you go.
Then I'm going to come back here and talk to Phil.
Yeah.
And teach me.
Yeah, teach him.
And then, we can throw your graded essay on the board. And
On the big screen. What? I mean, he's really fitting in well.
Hey.
He knows how to handle you.
Man. Yeah, I don't know where you got this guy from,
But we like him.
he's pretty smooth.
Yeah, he's pretty smooth.
And maybe we can do a monthly cannabis science check-in or something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be
Ray,
good.
I'm down for that.
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
down for that.
Cool.
I think you're a great addition to our show here, and we appreciate that you be here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, guys, this is not over yet. We are going to be doing a late night show tonight. Steve with the news is, I don't know if he's here or not here. We'll have to find out when we hang up. We've got the Jeffrey Epstein game coming on. I think you guys are going to meet my spiritual advisor tonight.
Oh, cool.
And then we got the lieutenant governor of Texas throwing fucking CBD snacks around.
Your spiritual advisor, huh?
Yeah.
I need to talk to him.
Oh, well, you will.
He has a tough job.
You will, my friend. You will. So, well, Ray, listen, I think we learned a lot. I appreciate you
thanks
being
for having
here.
me.
I know
Yeah.
this is just probably the first of many of our visits that
Awesome.
we're going to have.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And I just want to thank you for being here tonight and sharing what you do with
course.
us and the audience. Guys, if you're subscribed, hit Ray up.
Please.
We can look at this camera, Todd. And if you want to reach out to him, hit him up on his email. Give us a like and subscribe on this show. Give us about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll be back on for the late night show. We just got to reset some stuff, get everybody set up, and we'll be back. Last word for you, Mr. Todd. What'd you learn?
Man, well, what I found out, we have a lot of guests on here, and Raymond, he's so smart and has a lot to say, a lot of good information, and to have such a smart guest, now we know because he reached out to you, because you don't know too many people that are smart like that. So I'm glad that you reached out and let him know.
Word.
We appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to get my my closing shot here, guys. So it's I thought I had it. Give me a second. Anyway, guys, give us a like, subscribe. We'll be back in around a half hour, and you guys aren't getting the overhead shot. We're going to go to Please Stand By. We'll see you guys in 30 minutes. Thank you, Ray. See you, Todd.
Yep.
And we'll be right back.